Well, look, I know unique is a hackneyed word, but this place really is iconic. I mean, I've been a conservationist since 1974. I've done a lot of work in different parts of Australia, and I'd have to say, hectare for hectare, it would be hard pushed to find a spot as rich for both biological diversity but also geological diversity.
I've been bushwalking for all my life, and it doesn't really take long for one to fall in love with gardens of stone.
The Gardens of Stone comprise 58,000 hectares, but only 18,700 hectares are currently protected by national parks and reserves. Over 39,000 hectares remain unprotected and are impacted by mining, quarrying and forestry. The unprotected area extends mainly over the sandstone pagoda landscapes of the Newnes, Benbullen and Walgan state forests. The region is only 2 hours from Sydney and close to nearby Lithgow.
It's a bug that almost anyone catches, and this is why I take people into this area. I take regular walks a couple of times a week. But there are very few tracks to start with, but it's much more exciting and challenging, and most of this area is hardly explored. We don't just walk for the beauty of it or for the physical part of it, but we also intensely explore the terrain. We look at the plants, we look at the geology, we look at heritage sites, and the whole point then is to educate people and raise awareness of the different sites that this area has to offer. Now we're above some of the Walgan loops. We're looking back at some of them, whereas the rest of them are still ahead of us. The pagodas are a product of gradual weathering of layers of sandstone and ironstone. They're named pagodas by one of the early surveyors, but they do like a little bit like the Chinese pagodas because the ironstone doesn't weather as fast as the sandstone underneath the ironstone. Geologists believe that a pagoda of 8 meters would take 1 million years to form.
For me, the pagoda country is the land of the sandstone wizard. The shapes are just unbelievable. You can have funnels, you can have pulpits, chairs, tables, little bell shapes. I mean, whatever you can envisage, it's virtually there. Some places you've got ironstone banding, it's only that thick, but it juts out almost a metre from the rock. You have pipes coming out. It's that absolute generosity of imagination, really, that comes through these areas that I guess every time I go there, it basically exalts me.
You know, some people like different things. There are people who like exotic plants or different plants. There are people who like interesting birds. Of course, I'm really hooked on rock formations, and of course Gardens of Stone is the supreme area, one of the supreme areas in the world. That's the Walgan Valley, and you can hear the Walgan Falls just directly underneath us almost. And the valley here opens up, it turns around the corner and becomes really grand.
There's also the slot canyons, the incredible network of, you know, well, at least 500, maybe 600 slot canyons, many of them coming off Newnes Plateau. There's also the bottleneck valleys, so the very wide valleys that suddenly choke down to a little gorge. And they're also internationally unique. So there's 3 aspects of geodiversity that are in this one little area, plus you've got all the rare and threatened species and ecological communities that are also found there.
Hands there behind you, they're thousands of years old. This is a very sacred spot to the Wiradjuri people. We still do ceremonies here. And you'll see white and yellow ochre. And what they did is put the hands up and put the ochre in their mouth and chew it and blow it all over. That's how they come on the walls. See, they're all along here, all along this wall. You can see them all up here. We have a lot of sites in this area. There is sites that a lot of people don't know that's there. From the top of Mount York, coming down Mount Victoria, there were 6 different clans in this area, yeah. It's a beautiful spot, magnificent spot. There's a lot of places around here. You need a lot of time to go through it and have someone to take you through so you know where they are. Yeah. There was always water running through there. It was always running through here, lovely, beautiful, clear water, but that's all stopped now. Again, we feel that it's from the long wall.
There are other areas in the proposed Gardens of Stone Stage 2 conservation area where water is plentiful. They include broad headwater catchments that narrow into gorges of prominent rivers. These rivers provide freshwater flows for World Heritage listed national parks. They also supply water to Sydney and Lithgow.
We've got maps where the underground mining is under the Gardens of Stone region. You can see this pagoda is split there. Well, the pagoda is split in the middle, right? You can trace the split right through. I don't think anybody would argue that this is possible to rehabilitate this sort of stuff, because these pagodas took millions of years to form, and it's not something that you can fix with a bag of cement or any other means, even given the money, given all the money in the world.
This is called Broad Swamp. It's one of a number of what are known as Newnes Plateau shrub swamps, which only occur on the Newnes Plateau as part of the proposed Gardens of Stone Stage 2 proposal area. These swamps are listed as endangered ecological communities in New South Wales. They're high elevation peat swamps. They are groundwater dependent. They provide habitat for a number of really important and rare plants and animals. The species that I've been most involved with is the giant dragonfly, which I've been studying for many years, which is an endangered dragonfly species which lives in these peat swamps. The swamp also provides habitat to the endangered Blue Mountains water skink, which only occurs in these peat swamps. When the water table goes down, whether as a result of climate change potentially, or as a result of loss of groundwater from longwall coal mining, as we've seen in a whole suite of swamps, of these swamps on the Newnes Plateau so far. We're already losing populations of giant dragonflies. This is a larval burrow of a giant dragonfly. This peaty substrate under here, it's just completely saturated, and squeezed down, you can see the water squeezing out of it. Anyway, amazing complex places and extremely valuable from a biodiversity conservation point of view. So in terms of the long-term future of the Newnes Plateau, in my opinion, the Newnes Plateau swamps and their biodiversity are really one of the, in my opinion, probably the most important thing that we need to protect. And even before the longwall panels had even approached within half a kilometre of the head of this swamp system, the water table in the swamp basically disappeared. You can see by this fibrous mat of organic matter the risk of drought followed by fire. This whole place will be completely transformed. It'll basically be scoured down, and progressively it will just be scoured down and keep collapsing.
This is the actual bicentennial trail that goes up onto the Benbala Escarpment, which is part of the the proposal
Yep.
for the 39,000 hectares, which is Newnes State Forest, Benbullen State Forest and Walgren State Forest. There's something like, 16 threatened vegetation communities.
Yeah.
And I think overall there's around about 1,000 plants
Yep.
for the 3 state forests.
There's a
Wow.
dipodium out still.
Still out?
Yeah, they come out from November on. And this particular one is dipodium roseum. It's pink, and it has very submerged spots on it. It has little spots.
There's also a listed vulnerable species, Personia marginata, which was found by my husband Chris Jonkers around 10 years ago and had not been found any further than Clandulla. There's one. Ever so tiny. It's very hard to regenerate. It's susceptible, they say, to fires. Insects don't seem to help with pollination, so it's one that needs to be looked after more, and this is one of the only locations along this strip of Benbullen State Forest where this was found only 7 or 8 years ago.
The Personia marginata is one of 42 threatened flora species. Together with 16 endangered ecological plant communities, they are proof of the area's biodiversity. Newnes State Forest, with over 800 flora species, can claim its mark as being the 20th most floristically diverse out of all 550 state forests and 850 national parks in New South Wales.
So scientists have gone through, people have gone through and identified what's in there, and it's been nationally recognised as worthy of being World Heritage Area. So, you know, it's a great landscape, and I think the opportunity to preserve it really shouldn't be missed. While mining is a concern, I don't think we need to stop and wait for the mining to finish to protect the stuff that's still there. I think it'd be a great thing for Lithgow, and it'd be lovely to get some of those people staying in Lithgow and supporting that economy and spreading that tourist money.
Also in our midst we have the real heroes of the uni movement, Jack Mundy and Judy Mundy, here with us today. We also have the Deputy Mayor of Lithgow, Wayne McAndrews. Welcome, Wayne.
So I want, with the utmost respect, to say to you that I know that things have got to change. I know that I will not see the coal mining industry like Jimmy and I and others saw it back in the 70s and 80s in this country, and I know that there's need for change. But I say, please don't demonise the industry, especially please don't demonise the people that work within the industry, the men and women that work within the industry. Thank you all very much.
It was quite a pleasure for me that Wayne could attend, and very different views are on the table, but they're open and they're transparent and they're real. They're highly sensitive issues.
Wedge-tailed eagle soars high above the valley, where ancient pines have forever grown. Wombat sleeps in his den among the tree roots, hidden away in the gardens of stone. Pagoda daisy bright as morning sunshine, growing where other flowers are unknown. One of nature's treasured small surprises, surviving here in the gardens of stone.
These kinds of conflicts between the needs of the environment and the needs of the economy are not new. They've gone on forever. Here, we actually have got the basis for a sensible settlement. The nature of the reservation of the pagodas and the forest behind us is one that actually allows, it's not full national park status, it's a state conservation area which actually allows mining to continue so long as it's done very carefully and does not interfere with the appropriate management of the surface area. A decent government will work very hard to make sure that a place like Lithgow has got alternative kinds of employment generated that will provide work for the people who are being shed by coal mines and power stations. It's pretty simple.
The area that we're trying to protect is state forest, and it's being neglected and degraded. It's not beyond repair, but it does need funds and professional management. It needs the National Parks and Wildlife Service to look after it. This area can become a state conservation area. Its great natural values can be protected, and its accessibility that has been created through the mining enables a vast amount of visitation which would not otherwise be easy. So it's not about closing down coal mines, it's about developing a tourism future for Lithgow.
Yeah, come on, nice and loud. Let's go. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now.
But look at all the ironstone banding in the cliffs. It's such a great illustration of what happened probably 20 million years ago. Well, here we are. I call it Window Rock, which is like a special place in Arizona that I visited years ago. The fact that you have this wonderful arch, plus the little window that you look out on the sky, plus you're looking down this wonderful valley with pagodas, platy pagodas either side. You can't actually get that anywhere else in the world. But for me, this is the sacred place, the dreaming place, where you come at dawn and dusk and just sit here and soak it all in. So for me, it's a place where I recharge my spiritual battery, if you like, my soul. The whole pagoda country is like that, but this particular arch, yeah, a very special place.
Geologically spectacular and biologically rich, the Gardens of Stone is one of Australia's last great unprotected forests. It is a significant place for Aboriginal people, with many sacred places of rock art and shelter. It is a unique landscape of fragile beauty, from its imposing cliff lines and impressive pagoda sandstone formations to gentle grassy woodlands, interspersed with ancient upland peat swamps. The pagodas have been scientifically assessed and found to be of international significance. Conservation management of these sandstone landscapes would not threaten responsible underground mining and will protect the Lithgow region's best natural attractions. Protecting the Gardens of Stone creates a must-see iconic feature and secures Lithgow as the gateway service town for tourism in the Western Blue Mountains. A new Gardens of Stone reserve will then remain a wonderland forever.